Hey! What's going on, everybody? We're about to go live on Facebook too, as well, for this podcast. This is a special podcast. Just gotta find my. There it is. Okay. Close this off. There we go. Alright. I'm about to go live here in just a second. It's about to be a good one. It's about to be a good one. Alright. Alright, I will know that. What's that backwards? Okay. Hey! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of DK's Den. I'm doing a special episode today because this Sunday is my dad's birthday. And I wanted to do a special episode for him and just talk about him and talk about how much he is missed and what all memories was we had with him and all that good stuff. So I see Sheila's online. That's cool. Hey, Sheila. Welcome to the party. So I'm going to talk about my dad. We're going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to try and work my way through it as best as I can. He was born on February 1st, 1959, and he was just this amazing, energetic, loving father who tried his best at everything he could. And that's right, Sheila. Happy birthday. I miss him every day. And he tried his best with everything he had. And he was just the most amazing man in the world. Rainbow, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, that was just, you're a funny cat sometimes. But he was just this wonderful man. And he had a rough life, is what it was. He had a rough life. In my opinion, he did anyways. It was a good life, but it was rough. His dad, I still don't know what happened to his dad. I don't even think my Aunt Sheila does. I don't think my Uncle Ricky does. Uncle Aunt Kelly, Cricket, none of them. I've heard two different stories, and I like to view them as one story. I know, Aunt Sheila, I know. I was gonna do it before I got on here, but it's so cold outside that I didn't want to shave. And so his dad had either his dad had killed himself. That was the story. His dad had killed himself by drinking rubbing alcohol because this is the other part of the story that I've heard. He had gone to the doctor on the previous day, on the day they killed himself. Excuse me. And what had happened was, I guess he got some bad news. I have no idea. He got some bad news, the way I understood it. And his wife, my grandmother, who I never met, would go to the store and buy an alcohol. So he drank a whole thing or a half thing or whatever it was of rubbing alcohol. And so that's how he went. That's how he passed away. And we used to have a picture of him here. I wouldn't show it to you anyways because it's in the casket. It's weird that he's in the casket, but I guess that's how he did back then. And so that's how he went. And his mom died of uh oh, and Sheila, how did she die? How did she die? Did she? Mom told me last night, and I forgot. I know my uncle was killed in the graveyard by a bunch of other guys. By one guy. My uncle was killed in the graveyard by a man, by a friend of his who was just so plastered that he couldn't remember what the heck he was doing. He ended up killing. He ended up killing her, killing him. So let's see what else. My aunt, who was really my nana, she was really my nana. I loved her to death. She died 56. She had a stroke. That's what it was. Thank you, Sheila. I could not remember for the life of me what it was. She had a stroke. So she was 56, and she had a stroke, and his sister was. How was Nana when she died, and Sheila? Was she? She was in her 50s too, wasn't she? I believe. I believe she was in her 50s. She had cancer. That's how she died. So, but he lived with them for a pretty good while up until his mom died. And when she was 56 as well. That's what I thought. And when his mom died, he went, he went to live with his sister for a while, and they had some good memories as well. Dad told me how he had to just help out bills and everything else, and just work as hard as he could to be able to get out there and live their life and stuff. And there was tough times there as well, but he loved it there. I know he did. He just had a rough life. That's why he drank a lot. He moved in with my aunt Sheila when he was 15 years old. See, I didn't know that. I always thought it was like 16 or 17, but apparently it was 15. Thank you for contributing to this, Aunt Sheila. I really appreciate it. And so he lived there from the time he was 15 years old to I guess the time he met my mom, which I guess it was around 20, 23, because mom was 21 when she met him. And I'll never forget the story of her telling her about how he met. She said he came over in freaking farming overalls and he had Converses on. And she said when they started dating, she changed all that up. All that up. She said he started to make sure he wore nicer clothes and all that. She said he didn't want looking like a hick the whole time they was going out. And so, yeah, it was funny. And so, I love him and I miss him. He would have been 60 this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, and it was going to be a good one. It would have been a good one. He would have got a bunch of licks from me on the paddle. I got a paddle all ready for him and everything. But um, for those of you that don't know, I'm also doing a podcast. And for the podcast people and you guys, my dad died on July 4th. No, he never went anywhere without his car license, actually. Well, that's right. He loved them things, as far as I knew. I never saw him in a pair of car licenses. I usually saw him in a pair of Nikes. But for those of you that don't know, my dad died July 4th. Hey, Linda, how you doing, buddy? My dad died July 4th, 2000 and I want to say 14. It's been 5 years since he's been gone. Yeah, 14. And he had a heart attack and stroke in 14 is when he died because he had a heart attack and stroke in 2014. And so he got rehab and the insurance wouldn't pay for it anymore. So we moved down here so my aunt could get me into her rehab place. Not my aunt Sheila, my aunt Thea. She did that. But Aunt Sheila did plenty when we was up there. And we moved to Paducah, Kentucky. I mean, Lebanon, Kentucky. The rehab center was in Paducah, Kentucky. And so he started getting rehab there. And he started having blood clots or brain hemorrhaging or something. He started having more strokes. I do know that in his brain. And so after that, he just he lasted almost a week before it was time for him to go. He died about the way I understand my mom. He died at 5:50, which I always thought was funny because he went to work at like 5:55. Left the house at 5:55 to get to work by 6. I don't think he had to work till like 7. He just got there early to get there early. And yeah, I miss him. I miss him every day. It's been a tough 5 years without him. He was a great man. He was the best father he could have been. I loved him, and I still wish he was here with us today. He's just 60 years old. It's really hard to believe that he'd be 60 years old. He just does not seem that old. Just does not seem that old. I'd be making fun of him too. I swear I would. I loved him. He loved me. So, but there's a couple memories, couple stories about him. Uh, None of these will be in any specific year order. So there was a time a Christmas tree fell on him at my Gooper's house. That's my grandmother on my mom's side, and they had plastic on the windows and stuff back then, and the wind was so strong that it knocked the plastic right off. And when it did, it uh, fell on him, and he didn't know what to believe. And it was when him and mom had first started going out. Yeah, I know, Jason. The reception's bad here. I don't know why it's bad, but they just started going out, and that daggone tree had fell on him. Excuse me. And it was just hilarious. He was like, "Somebody want to help me out of the street?" No, just gonna laugh at my expense. All right, thanks. Wonderful family I'm getting involved with. And it was just funny. He was just a funny guy. I loved it when he was always here with us because he would get up and he would do this little dance. He would go, Randy, he's the man. He can do what no one can. And he was just crazy. The stuff he did, the way he acted. He always tried to make my mom smile and laugh. Always. That is the one good quality thing that I love about my dad. That's the one thing that I do remember about him and my mom. Besides everything else, I remember him always trying to keep her laughing and keep her smiling. Always, no matter what. Even when they was ticked at each other, he would always do that. Lyndall, thank you for the kind words there, buddy. I appreciate that. You are a fantastic friend as well. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're a good person. I love the stuff that you're doing with the Comic Con. I can't wait for next year's. I'm hoping to be involved with next year's. Maybe we could set up a podcast or something that day. We could get everybody together for that. That'd be awesome, I think. So there was one where my mom, dad, and Uncle Tom and Aunt Gina. Those are the friends of the family. My mom and dad have known Aunt Gina since I don't know, like ever since they've been dating or marrying, one of those two. And and they went camping a lot. Uncle Tom's told me this. They went camping so much, and a leech. And Mom had sit down on a bucket of leeches by accident. And I don't know why they had a bucket of leeches. I never figured that out. So she sit down on a bucket of leeches, and when she did, one of them got stuck to her ass. And there's gonna be some cussing here because I'm telling it the way it was told to me. And it got stuck to her ass, and Dad, it was on her pants leg, and Uncle Tom and Dad was just cracking up, and Dad was trying to get that leech off her ass while she was trying so hard not to squirm, because I could hear my mom right now, get the leech off my ass, get the leech off my ass, get the leech off my ass. Ah! I know, we're gonna put that. And so, oh man, oh yeah, he was a joker, Wendell, he was. He was the true Joker. I swear he was. There's so many stories of him doing pranks. Just to prove a point here, Lyndall, there was one time after I graduated from high school back in 2012. This was when Kmart was still open. Kmart was still open. We went to Kmart. We just got done eating, and I don't like using the bathroom anywhere except for other people's houses. I just don't. That's just how I am. I don't trust public bathrooms. And so I went to I had to go to the bathroom bad that night. So I went to the bathroom. You know how Chinese it is. It goes through you quick. So I went to the bathroom. I went up in there and I had my phone out and I was going to be in there for a while. And the next thing I know, I hear the lights go off. I see the lights go off. Wait, we're going to click that. I see the lights go off and I hear a click and I'm thinking, oh crap, the whole store must have went down. And so I'm sitting there on the toilet and just trying to find the toilet paper and everything else. And it's dark as heck in there. There's no windows. And so I'm using my phone. And this is before they had flashlights and stuff on the phone. And I get off and the door is locked. And I'm like, how the crap is this door locked? And so I get out the daggone door. And there's my dad and my mom waiting for me. And dad's like, what took you? And I'm like, dude, somebody locked me in the bathroom and turned the lights off. And mom starts pointing and she goes, and I'm like, Dad, did you lock me in the bathroom and turn the lights off and came on? And he's like, what? Me? I wouldn't do that. He just starts giggling. I'm like, Dad almost fell in there. I could have died. He's like, you was fine. I would have got you. I'm like, I love you too, Pops. I love you too. He was just crazy. And if you ever see a picture of me and my dad, you could tell that I was a spitting image of my father, except for the glasses. It's the only thing that he didn't have. He didn't wear glasses. And so it was just it's crazy how much I look like him, but it's crazy how much I act like him too, because I do. I act just exactly like him. I aggravate my mom just the exact same way he does. I laugh at the same stuff he does. It's just it's one of the things I do love about it. When I was younger, I hated with a passion that I was exactly like my dad because I didn't want to be like my dad. And I was young. I didn't understand what it was like for my dad growing up. I mean, I had to understand. Thank you, Sheila. I had to understand that my own father, and I hope the people on the podcast can still hear me too. I need to check that. Let's see. Yeah, they can still hear me good. All right, and it's just it's crazy because I didn't understand it when I was younger. I did. I mean, I have to understand. My dad's dad died very young. I don't even know how old he was when he died. All I know is he was young. Mom never told me how old Dad was when Grandpa died on my dad's side. And then his mom died at 56 of a stroke, and he had to go live with Sheila and Uncle Ricky and them and all that. And so then, sorry, it was a little blunt there. And so then his told Granny I said hi and Sheila, I miss him and love him. And so then he lost his sister at 50, 55, 56. I think that might have should have said a second ago. But it, I didn't realize I was young. I was just young. And I disliked my dad a lot when I was younger because he used to drink. He he didn't drink as much until after his his own sister had died. After she died, that was it. He it was the last of his real family. You know, mom, dad, brother. His brother got killed in the graveyard by another guy. You know, it was just the way it was. And so I just didn't understand it when I was younger, and I didn't like them. And I regret that deeply, deeply, deeply. And I wish I had understood it more because, hey, all, I'm doing good. How are you? And I just wish I'd understood it more because I, I, I could have been better to my father. I was good to my father, but I could have understood more. My grandma was pregnant so bad, so he got come back here. Yeah, he never met him, man, Sheila, you're right. And so there was he wasn't a mean drunk. He was basically a happy drunk, and that's good. I'm glad to hear. He was basically a happy drunk, but I just didn't understand it. He drank from the time I was, oh gosh, I don't even know. I think Nana died when I was six, maybe six, all the way up to middle school. I know he died. I know he stopped drinking when I was in middle school, and I remember this specifically because the night before, uh, we was waiting for him to come home, and he didn't come home. And this is a story I had to tell because it's a little funny to me. And it's funny to mom too sometimes. He was like a block from the house, about to pull in when a cop pulls him over because he had been swerving, and, and he gets out of the car and he tries to walk the straight line, but he's just like that, and he can't walk the straight line. So the cop takes him in. He calls mom, and mom is freaking out, and she had to call Scott, who I believe is my cousin. He was dad's boss at the Mid America Clutch Company that he worked at. And so they called Scott to get the money to be able to bail him out. But while he was in there, he was so stressed out and so worried about getting stabbed or raped or something else. He had to be put in a freaking box by himself because he was about to have a heart attack and a stroke right there. It's funny now because, because I can see my dad in there trying to survive. Rainbow! Rainbow! Quit that. Girl. I can see my dad trying to survive in this itty jail cell with all these other guys. He said if he had stayed in there, he would have been freaking the heck out and sleeping with one eye open. I don't think he would have slept at all, really truly, I really don't. But I remember that day because I tried to get out going to school because I wanted to be there with them when they went to pick him up. Wouldn't let me do it. So I went to school that day. I came off and Dad was with Mom. Rainbow, what is underneath this bag that's so bad that you got on? Ain't nothing underneath that bag. Ain't nothing underneath that bag. Sorry, my cat's being a good one. So he gets out of jail, and comes to Mom to pick me up, and we get home, and the first thing he does is he pours all the beer down the drain. All of it. That's it. You're doing this above me, aren't you? I know you are. And so he pours all the beer down the drain, and it was something to see because I've never seen my dad do that before. I've never seen him pour anything down the drain, beer wise. And so he pours it all, and he grabs us and he hugs us. And at the time, I thought it was awkward. I don't know why. I just thought it was awkward. I guess because I didn't understand. I was just this little kid coming up into the world on my own with my mom and dad, didn't support me by my side. And I didn't understand it then. But, let's see, there's more. I want to get all the me and him stories out of the way because there's so much of those. And I want to tell the stories that I've had other people tell me, but we loved wrestling. Loved it to death. I didn't start getting into it until middle school when John Cena became really popular. that hustle, loyalty, respect. Alright, so we always wrestled together. Even before I started watching it, we wrestled, and he would let me win. He says, see the quotation marks there, let me win. Nah, nah, I beat that man. I beat that man. No, not really. He won. He let me win every time, all the time, every day. That's just how it was. But I remember watching Wrestle with him, and I remember doing it, and I remember going to see it live. We saw it live 3 times, 3 times before he had the heart attack and stroke. We was actually gonna go later that year to go see it again because Raw was coming back down, and I was really wanting to go with him, and I ended up going with Devo and Cody Bones instead. And so I got a $20 John Cena poster that was supposedly signed by him. I used to have a John Cena hat, don't know what that's at. I bought that when I was with him. I remember one story that Uncle Jamie told me one time. It's hilarious as crap. He was they went to go see Wrestling Live. This is like back in the old days when Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy and Johnny Law and all them was still going at it. And excuse me, sorry. And and took Uncle Jamie was watching it with him, and one of the guys, and there was wrestling and stuff, and Uncle Jamie was in the stands screaming, "Hit him with the trash can! Hit him with the trash can!" And my dad just went pop, knocked him upside the head, and said, "Boy, shut the hell up! Ain't nobody gonna be hitting nobody with no damn trash can." He said, hit him with the trash can one more time. We're gonna be leaving on. He said, "You're embarrassing me out here in front of all these people." I can see my dad doing it too. I can just see him pop right up on the head. I can see it. There was another story with Uncle Jamie where where is that at? Did I write that down? No, I didn't write it down. I think I can remember it though. There was another story with Dad where he he him and Uncle Jamie, him and Mom was walking, not walking. Him and Mom and Uncle Jamie was driving down to Paducah, and Dad and Uncle Jamie rode in the same car. So they got in the car, started driving, got to Marion, and Dad flagged Mom to go on. And so Mom just went on. She went all the way on the Paducah. And next thing Dad knows, the car just starts breaking down. You know, you know. And Uncle Jamie and Dad had to walk pretty good ways to get to the house. And they was afraid to go up in this house. They said the house looked spooky. I guess it was nighttime. Mom never did tell me it was nighttime or not by the time they got there. But they got there and and Uncle Jamie and Dad both looked at each other and they was like, "This is the creepiest house I've ever seen in my life. This is more creepy than Animal House, Animalville House." And so they go inside and the old guy who owns the place is like, "Yes." And Dad's like, "Son, I'm sorry. Our car broke down a while back. Is it okay if we borrow your phone? I need to call my wife." I don't know that. I think they was married about that time. Yeah, they was married about that time. And he wanted to call Mom. So he called Mom, and Mom had already gotten to Gooper's house. I guess that's where they was going. They got to Gooper's house, drove all the way down, and she had to come all the way back to pick them up. And Uncle Jamie said it was the most scariest experience he ever had in his life. I don't know. I think there's been plenty of other scary experiences, but that must take the cake. Um, there was one with Uncle Tom where they was working on his Cadillac converter, and apparently Dad was trying to get a better better fuel efficiency, sorry, Doesn't help that I got one missing tooth. And the ceramic platinum beads broke off the thing and just went rolling down the hill. And they was just they was drunk too, so they was just cracking up laughing. And so they both looked at each other and just said, forget it, and went back to drinking. There's another one that I gotta mention this one, actually. Uncle Rick, you know Uncle Ricky loves this one. You know he does. And I think it was him and Uncle Denny. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was him and Uncle Denny. So him, Uncle Denny, I believe Uncle Denny and Uncle Ricky were in the boat, and they were fishing. And I believe it was Uncle Denny that did it. Uncle Denny had let the line go, and the line had stunk right into Dad's head, and it was like right in there good. Like Dad was screaming, hollering, and probably a little bit crying too. And Uncle Ricky and Uncle Denny's like, they're drunk. They're all drunk. You know, this is how everybody was back then. Everybody was young, dumb, and just drunk. Oh, it was just funny. But they just looked at Dad and was like, you'll be all right. You'll be okay. You'll be fine. I think it was Uncle Denny, wasn't it, Sheila? I wait for him to type. I want to see if she types. Tell you another story while I'm waiting. It was every time the Temptations movie was on TV, my dad loved the Temptations. I loved them to death. Almost as much as he loved the Beach Boys. So every time it was on TV, me and him watched it. I actually ended up, and I'll show you this too. I actually ended up. Oh wow! I actually ended up. I actually ended up buying a copy at Books and Music when it's still available and open to use in Kentucky. Yeah, I'm not sure either. I thought it was over there, but maybe it wasn't. I can't remember right now. I have to ask what the wiki again. I actually ended up buying a copy for Dad at Books and Music, and it is the best $7.95 I've ever spent in my life. I swear to God, we watched that movie every time it was on VH1. We loved that daggone movie. Loved it to death. Never got tired of it. If I ever get over my fear of needles, and this might be a little, I don't even care if this seems gay or not. I actually have been thinking about getting a tattoo right here on my chest saying "Temptations Forever" because that's what they said at the end of the movie. That's how they loved each other. They said "Temptations Forever." And I'm thinking about getting that there with Dad's birthday and the day he died. And I've been thinking about doing that for a while. I'm just worried about the pain. Oh God, I'm not looking forward to it. I have such a feeling deal. I hate it with a passion. I hate it with a passion. Let's see. There was the time me and him went to go see Snow Dogs when it first came out. If you had never seen Snow Dogs is a movie that Cuba Gooding Jr. starred in. It was a family flick, really and truly. And one of the crack is my cat. And so we went to go see it, and it was good. Those other times, you okay there? You good? You gonna turn something up? I'm watching you. And so we went to go see the movie, got in there, got the popcorn and everything, and Dad's just having a great time. The pain is not that bad. That's not what your son said. And Brandon told me the pain was a bitch. He said it hurt like a bitch. And so I went to see it. I sat down, had the popcorn and everything. And Dad sitting there watching with me. And I guess at one point he fell asleep. No, he didn't fall asleep. That was good, but Spider Man 2. That's what it was. And so it's just good, man, because we didn't go to the movies that often. Me and him didn't. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. My Uncle Andy's texting me. Uncle, Uncle Andy just texted me and told me how he taught Dad how to play basketball and schooled him in pool. And I believe it. Actually, that's another thing I want to talk about. My dad was a big pool player. You never saw him not go to the pool hall. If I could get this out, right, this through there's a couple here, but I think one will do. How the crap did he turn his camera is my question. Is there like no way to turn the camera? That's so stupid. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all this trophy real quick. It's gonna be a little dusty and stuff, but yeah, okay. So that's he was a big pool monster. He loved it. He got this in 93 summer session. He got first place on that one. First place. Man, she said she thinks Dad scored up on Andy. That seems more believable, especially since he got first place in Sheila. I can see that. I can see that. I distinctly remember being, God, I don't know. I don't know how it was, 3, 4. There's so many memories of him, you know. I distinctly, but this is the forward. I distinctly remember going to one of these pool halls, and I thought I was good. I don't know how the hell I got in there because I was underage. I guess because I wasn't. I guess because I wasn't drinking and they wasn't drinking. I'm not sure. I went in one time, and it was the last pool session that I remember him going to was the one that I went with him, and I remember, and I think one of the trophies he has says the date on it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but he loved to play pool. Loved it. I've tried to play pool, and I'm too daggum short. I be standing up there with the cue and everything, trying to hit the ball and all that, and I gotta stand on my tiptoes and get me a step ladder and jump up and hope I don't scratch the table and all this other stuff. So that's one thing that I can't do to be able to connect with my dad. I can't play pool unless they get me a short table and actually teach me how. Hey, sure, maybe Uncle Andy can teach me how since he's so good at it. But it was just good. And since the Super Bowl is this Sunday, and the Patriots are back at it again, back at it again. This is another story about my dad. Back at it again. The first Patriot game that made me a fan was back in 2004 with them versus the Eagles. I distinctly remember that because that's the first football game I ever watched from the beginning to the end. And I remember it as well because Will Smith introduced the Philadelphia Eagles. And it was really cool, really awesome, really good game too. But I remember every Super Bowl, and I just wish I'd had the money this week or I would have done this. Every Super Bowl, Dad always bought pizza and wings. He would go down to Firehouse Pizza or oh, what is that one pizza place called in Henderson? I have not lived in Henderson so long I can't remember. Uh, there's another pizza place in Henderson. You're funny and shit. Tom Brady does not suck. You're funny though. I love you. And so there was another pizza place in Henderson, and he would always get pizza and wings, and I always made sure he got pizza and wings. And if I had the money this week, I would have done it. So I, I can't do it this week. Maybe I could do it next year. It'd be really nice to do it one time for Dad and just. I know this is bad to say, but the one thing I always wanted to do with my dad as I got older was to share one beer with the man. I always would. I know it's bad because he was alcoholic, and I probably will be too eventually. I'm trying not to be. I don't think about it as much, but you're right, Aunt Sheila. You're right. Mikey and Dad are going to be cheering. You know Mikey's going to be cheering for the Patriots. He loved them more than me and Dad did. But I always wanted to share at least one beer with the man. If not a beer from him and a free drink from me. Because I will drink Guinnesses, but anything else, I can't do it. Now, Dad was a Bud Light man. Loved this Bud Light. Loved it. Loved it a lot. He might have drank, excuse me, he might have drank, hey, hey, better quit that. Better quit that. He might have drank other drinks. I'm not sure. I have to ask. And sure, did he drink anything under Bud Light? Because I know when he was here with me and Mom, he always drank Bud Light. Did he drink Corona? He might have drank Corona. But there's that, and see, what else is oh yeah, my Uncle Jamie used to call it Purple Flash Randy. Because, Rainbow? Kitty, are you not getting any love today? Is that your problem? Is that your problem, Kitty? I didn't think you did either. Is that your problem? You're not getting any love today? I gave you some love when I got up this morning. I gave you some love when I got up this morning. I got to get back to this podcast, this livecast. You know, don't you be like me. Oh, this ain't playtime. I'm doing business right now. But they used to call him Purple Flash Randy because he used to own a purple gremlin. And apparently this thing was more purple than Barney the dinosaur. So, and Uncle Jamie would always call him Purple Flash Randy. Always. Oh, I gotta tell this because I just remembered it. Mom had finally told me the story of how her and Dad got engaged. And I don't know if you've heard this one, Aunt Sheila, but Dad was coming down here, and this is how country my dad was, I guess, in a sense. He, he pulled over on the side of the road. I hope there was a sunset. I hope to God there was a sunset. I should have asked Mom. I was freezing for a second there, sorry. So he pulls over on the side of the road. Gremlins rule. That's right, Aunt Sheila. That's right. And so he pulls over on the side of the road. Big dog. Hold on. Hold on, sorry. Okay, he's texting me again. He loves him from Kentucky. And I'll mention that in a second. So he gets down on the side of the road, pops on down, and pulls the ring out. And Mom tried everything she could. I'm freezing up again. I know. Let me check this Wi-Fi. Pulls down the side of the road. Mom's trying not to laugh because, and she didn't tell him this because he had gotten the wedding band out instead of the wedding. And he didn't know that it was a wedding band. And so they get down here to Paducah, and they got married June. Yeah, June. They got married June the 3rd. Yeah, June the 3rd. 1984. Yeah, 1984. Because they had me 10 years later. So they get down there, and it's just funny. This is funny. They get down there, go inside, and mom starts showing it off and everything, showing the ring off. And everybody's like, Randy, I hate to say this, but you know that's a wedding band, right? Not a ring. And Dad was ticked. He was laughing, but he was ticked. He was like, why didn't you tell me that was daggone wedding band, not the ring? And she's like, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, Randy. I loved you too much for that. And I can just see it. I can just see it. I wish I could have seen it. I wish they got it on video. That's hilarious. Just hilarious. Um, Uncle Andy just texted me a second ago talking about how, because my Aunt Sheila and Uncle Andy are from Evansville, Indiana. They're the Pacers, the Pacers. And so he texted me telling me how Dad always tried to convince him that Kentucky was the better basketball team out of all basketball teams. And Uncle Andy said that he never fell for that one. So Big Daddy got jokes, Aunt Sheila. Big Daddy got jokes. I called my dad Big Dog or Top Dog. I call him both really. He called me Big Dog, and I was his small dog. And that's how we always acknowledge each other. And I got in trouble for that crap too when I come down here and talk to him, and I say, "Hey, Big Dog, I love you," and they'd be like, "That's not your dad's name. Your dad's name is Dad or Randy." I'd be like, "That's what I call him. That's just his name. That's just who he is to me." You know. um, God, let's see. There was one time when Dad was drunk with Mom, and she had just, the way I understood it, she had just got her license to start driving, but she had been driving too much, and she had and she didn't have a car. And so he was drunk one night, really drunk, and I think they was going to Nana and Papa's house. I'm not sure. And she was driving. He was in the seat next to her, and she said, "Wait." He couldn't park it. That was the problem. He could not park that daggone car because he was so drunk. Everything was just all over the place. And so he told Mom to park the car. And she's like, "Wait, I just got my license. I'm going to park the car before." And he's like, "I don't give a shit. Just park this motherfucker wherever you can park it at." So Mom starts parking it. And the way I understand it, she hit the ledge. And Randy's like, my dad's like, "What the crap? What the, did you just dip my car?" And she's like, "I told you I never parked before. You can't blame me." Oh, man. Dad did something to tick Mom off one time before. I think she was at, the way I understood, she was at Nana's house. And sure, this might have been after you moved out. She was at Nana's house, and he was drunk. He did something to piss her off. There's a lot of drunk stories. I'm starting to realize this. Man, I was drunk a lot, wasn't he? And so she went back to the trailer park. She went back to the trailer park, and he was trying to find her all night long. He stayed at me Pepper Red's house all night looking for her and trying to find her. And finally, he just decided to go home. And he said, "Brenda, what the hell are you doing? I've been worried about you all night." And she said, "Well, if you thought to call home or come home and stop being an asshole, you'd know that I was him." And it's just funny, It's just funny. It's just in the damn blood. He was just this joker. He was just this prankster. he was all that and more. He was all that in a bag of chips, as they used to say back in the 90s. Oh no. Hold on, people. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Okay. And so, there's just, there's a lot of stories. Hey, Sheila, do you have a favorite story of Dad that you would like me to share? Oh, Uncle Randy? And for everybody watching and listening to this podcast right now, the podcast, the streamcast, Jacob Wright has just, I hope he's still watching. He should be, but Jacob Wright has just come on. And Jacob's a good friend of mine. I met him through Debo and Young Life and all that when I was doing that whole thing. And Jacob was there for me a little bit. Then after we thought Dad was gonna die the first time, because the first time he had the heart attack and stroke. We called everybody. Everybody came up. What you gonna do? Attack me? And we all thought he was gonna be gone that night. And so Jacob came up there to support me and be with me, and I want to shout out about that because Jacob's a great friend. He's always been the best. Hey, sure, you'll remember him for giving me that ride home that time from your house to down here. That's Jacob. You remember him, I think. But there's just there's so many great memories of my father. There's just so gosh darn many, and the fact that he's going to be 60 years old this Sunday it just blows my mind. I know there's still more stories to tell, and I'll probably be on here for a while telling these, but it's fine. I loved my dad. I miss him every day. There is not a day that I don't miss my father. My dad was the sun and the moon for me. He was everything that I am and everything that I hope to be one day, even as a father. And Sheila, there is another story, and you could collaborate on this one probably. Apparently, when I was being born, this is what Mom told me last night. Apparently, when I was being born, all Dad could think about was food. He was just like, "Is the boy born yet? I'm hungry. I want to go get something to eat. I'm not starving to death and waste away here." And that's just who my dad was. He was just this energetic, good quality man who tried the best at everything he did, even when life tried to hit him down. even when life tried to hit him down, he did everything he could. Is somebody calling me? Yes. Hold on, we gotta see some freezing here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Spam calls. Um, there's so many. There was one where he was playing basketball with Uncle Ricky one time, and apparently he was moving too fast, and he tripped over his own feet. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I can see that too. There was one where we went down to Aunt Lordine's house, and then Sheila, he was I don't think he was there for that one. If he was, I don't remember it. We went down to Aunt Lordine's house, and you know Uncle Ricky and Uncle Denny. When I was younger, they could talk me into anything. I always wanted to impress them, and so Uncle Ricky and Uncle Denny got me to get up there and sing karaoke. And Mom and Dad were like, "If you get up there and sing karaoke, we're gonna be dead embarrassed." So I get up there and I start singing a little Elvis Presley, well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. And Dad's over. I can see Dad. Dad's over in the corner just like this. I don't know you. I don't know you. I'm just waving to my dad, and he's just flipping me off, and he was embarrassed, just straight embarrassed. And there was times when he embarrassed me too, but I was on the. This wasn't really embarrassing. He didn't really ever embarrass me, really, when I think about it. When I was on the football team, I was the water boy. Let that sink in for a second. I was the water boy. That's right. I bring that water. But when I was on the football team and I was water boy, every game, you could hear him up in the stands. Hey, water boy! You make it through football players that water. They're thirsty. And he'd just be screaming and hooting and hollering and everything else. And I'd be like, Dad, cut that up. And he always made fun of me when I went to school dances too. Always. He'd be like, so, did you get a girl dance tonight? Did you get lucky? Did you get lucky? You did, didn't you? I'm like, Dad, shut up. I don't want to talk about that. Nope. Don't want to talk about that. And every time, and that was one time, when I used to rap, there was this one time was passing by this church downtown in Henderson. And we were at the stoplight and it had just lit out. And all these girls had come out. All these girls had come out. And I swear to God, it's the true story. All these girls had come out. And they started screaming at me, knocking on the door and the windows. DK, spit us a fresh word, DK. And Dad's like, son, I didn't know you was that popular. And I'm like, oh yeah, Dad, ladies love me. He's like, is that why you got a girlfriend? I'm like, just drive. Just drive, Dad. Just drive. uh, okay, and Sheila, you might know this one too. Papa Red had a boat, and y'all was out riding around one time, and you was jumping over barges, and Dad thought he was gonna die, and he put on every single life jacket that was in that thing on. So if anybody wanted to save their own life, they couldn't because he had every single freaking life jacket on. You remember that one, Sheila? Am I telling that right? And I can tell you just exactly how good hearted my father was too. My dad mowed my grandmother's yard, and her yard's always rough because it's got a lot of holes in it and stuff. He mowed her yard. Yes, that's it, actually. That's the story. He got mad. He also got mad, threw his shoes in the waters. But Mom told me it was a $20 bill, not a 10. But that is exactly the story. That's it. So while Papa Red was jumping over barges and stuff, and he was putting on every single life jacket, he got mad, and I still know why he got mad. He got mad and threw his shoes out into the water, and he had $20 in the shoes, and then $20 in the shoes just floated right on down. But this is how good hearted my dad was. He would mow my grandmother's yard when she didn't ask him to, and she got ticked about it too. And he paid somebody to come over and do her bushes or something one time because it was really high. He would give a guy named Bill a ride home all the time, never asked for gas money or anything, and just told him don't worry about it. Every day he would give this guy a ride home, or he would go out in he would go out and help him whenever he needed it. And when my Uncle Tom and Aunt Gina was moving from, I believe, Forest Hills to where they are now, I think that's right. He he was the only one with my mom who would help them move. Nobody else would help them move. Just my dad. Just my dad and my mom. That was it. Um, let's see. What else has it done? There's been plenty of others, I'm sure. Okay, see, I didn't know that. Apparently, he was threatening Papo Red if he didn't stop, he was going to throw his shoes in the water. And I'm sure Papo Red's like, go ahead. Ain't going to kill me none. If I know Papo Red, Papo Red pretty well. Oh my gosh. It's just. Yeah, he did. But what he didn't realize was the money was in the shoes. He didn't realize that he had the $20 bills in the shoes. That's what it was. Yeah. So, oh man. Let's see. There's there's one story I do love too. I used to be a skateboarder, and my dad had put the board together for me. I knew it. I knew I was right about that. I knew that was the one. I could just see him saying it. I could just see him saying it. And so he had just put the skateboard together, and he he, he puts the thing on the daggone ground, and he gets on it. And he's trying to ride it in the garage. Well, he puts one foot on it, puts the other foot on it, and goes bam. Hits his head on the floor. Had like the biggest knot you'd ever seen on his head because he was bald in the middle, just like I am, but I'm not showing you mine. He was bald in the middle. He had the biggest knot on his head, and so he came in there, and Mom had hugged him, and he went and she said, "What's wrong with your head?" And he said, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I got on the coast skateboard and fell right on my head." And she started laughing and she said, "Why was you trying to ride that skateboard?" And he said, "Well, I thought maybe if I tried to learn how to ride it, me and him could have something else to do together." That didn't happen. He got on that board one time, never got on again. He said that thing was a death trap exactly. That was one time he came to a skate competition down at the park downtown. Not down, well, yeah, I guess it's downtown really. Downtown, and I can't skate for crap. I can't. I never could. I could do an ollie, and I did a half a pop shove it that day. I've been trying to do a pop shove for like a straight month. I'm trying to do a pop shove it in preparation for that punk competition, and there's the only one he came to, and him and Mom stayed in the truck with the air turned on because he said he wasn't getting out in that hot sun. And I remember just I was shocked that he was there because he never came to much stuff when I was younger. Never did. And that's because the whole him being drunk and just didn't want to do anything. He was just depressed about he was depressed about his sister for the longest time. And he came to some baseball, t-ball stuff when I was younger, but he quit going to that because I hated that stuff with a passion. So I finally just gave up on it. I did choir, and he came. He did come to one. He came to one of those, and I asked him if he's going to come to the next one. He said, "No, no, hell no." He said, "That's just too boring. I ain't doing that." He said, "I almost fell asleep right then and there." Excuse me. Excuse me again. Excuse me again. Good Lord. And so there's just so many good memories with my father, and so many great times. There's so many times that could still be had with Dad, especially in his last 5 years alone. You know, me going to college, finally going to college. I will not. I would have went to college at Henderson, Kentucky, and he would have supported me, but I didn't go because there was a lady up there that run the special department for kids that had like ADHD and stuff like that, and I made horrible grades. I didn't try anything, and Dad had come. Oh my God! I did not know that, Aunt Sheila. Aunt Sheila. Oh God! And Sheila just told me that him and my uncle Andy were delivering newspapers on Christmas morning. And I remember that. I remember somebody told me he used to deliver papers, and he threw a paper, was aiming for the porch, but missed and threw it right in someone's bedroom glass window. Oh my gosh! Did he ever get in trouble for that? He got fired, didn't he? I know he got fired. He had to. And so I remember so she was running a special college fame at West Kentucky for kids that had ADHD and stuff. And I'm hoping this podcast turns out all right. But I didn't make good grades. I didn't try hard enough. I made a couple B's, more than a couple C's and D's. I made C's because I knew they was passing because that's what the teachers told me. Literally, the teachers told me, if you make a C, you pass, you're good. If you make a D, you pass, you're good. So I didn't try hard enough. And I guess the lady thought that I was remedial because she wanted to send me off to a special school for remedial kids. And Mom was in there just breaking down crying about it. And I'm in there thinking, I ain't going to this daggum school. So I'm in there telling Mom, it's okay, you know. If I have to go, I have to go. Not really, but if I have to go, I will. No, I won't. And so I just remember that. So apparently, when he threw that glass window in the house, that the people came out and said that's okay, consider it a good Christmas present. Oh man! And so I would have went to college in Henderson Community College in Henderson, Kentucky, but I just did not want to deal with that lady because she said as long as I was there and she was there, she was going to try and send me off to that special school. So I ended up taking a year off, and he supported me through that. I tried to get a job in between that time and never could. I couldn't get a job until after he had the heart attack and stroke and started working at Walmart almost a month and 2 weeks of my life. And so there's just there's so many other things that I wish I could be here for. I really do. I wish I could be here for when I do go back to college. Why not West Kentucky? Because that's going to be over right now. Um, when I get a girlfriend, God knows when that happens. When I get married, when I have my child, just a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff. He was always there through the good times and bad times. And no matter what it was, he would always support me. He even supported me throughout this and two other things. He got really ticked about this. When I was in high school, I had to go to bathroom. I was a freshman. I had to go to the bathroom really bad, and I asked, and we was doing testing, and I asked her. I said, when I get done with this, I said I won't rush. I won't do nothing like that. I said I will take this test, but I said I have got to go to the bathroom. I said if I could get done with this and go to the bathroom, could I do that, please? Yes, ma'am. Yes, he is actually. He's always with me. I know. He's right here, right now, popping me in the head. I can feel it. Trust me, I can feel it too. I'm not trying to be smart. I swear I felt it pop me in the head at least one time. And the teacher told me yes. And so I got done with the test and I asked her, I said, do you care if I go to the bathroom? And she said, no, you can't go to the bathroom. We're tested. Because when they're tested, they're in lockdown mode. Nobody can go out until testing is done. And I had to go bad. I told her, I said, ma'am, I need to go, please. And she just kept telling me, no, no, no. And I said, you let me go. I'm going to go over in that bush and pee right there. And she said, you still can't do it. And I said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to the bathroom. So I walked out, went to the bathroom, came back. I had to go down to the office. And apparently in the state of Kentucky, or at least of Henderson and County, if you tell a teacher, fuck you, that's verbal assault. And she could have charged me with that. So she didn't, but that officer was ready to take me to jail. He had cussed out and everything. He was ready to take me to jail. And Dad was really ticked about that. Not the fact that I told her that. He said, I was in the ride. I had to go to the bathroom and she gave me her room. No, he was ticked about the fact that they was going to haul me to jail just for saying F you to the teacher. He thought that was stupid. And that was another point where he about whooped another kid's ass for what he did to me. This kid was being a bully to me in school, and he kept taking. He wouldn't let me get my notebook, and people say that I hit him, and I don't remember hitting him. I blacked out. I ended up having to go to court over that. I didn't stay long in there, but I ended up having to go to court over it, and oh, this got to be the last story because my phone is on 21%. And you'll have to listen to the rest of the podcast, I guess. But we ended up going to court over it, and this guy, these people brought this kid over to my house one day, and he didn't go, he didn't come in the house. He came on the site, but not in the house. Came on the property, and and I said, dude, you better get up out of here. I said, my dad will whip you. I said, he's not happy at you. And he said, man, go get your father. I'll whip his ass right here now. I said, man, here you go to Jack Clanton, my father. I said, get the heck out of this driveway and get the heck away from him. So he finally left, and I told Dad, and he said, you should have came and got me. I would have got the belt out. I was ready to go to jail. I'd be ready to whip, 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 whip. But, man, happy 60th birthday, Dad. I love you. I miss you. I hope these stories and other stories and this podcast, this live stream has been great. I'm going to put the podcast up in a second here. I'll put last week's episode up as well. But man, it's been great talking about my father. And I'm really surprised because I didn't get teary eyed once. Just hold on to the people you have right now. Do not let anger or anything, resentment, anything like that hold you back. If you have somebody that you love, hold them, love them, because they could be here today, gone tomorrow. I wish that I could spend much more time with my dad. I spent a lot of time with him. We watch rated R comedies too. We'd love to do that. That's the one main thing we'd love to do. And I wish we could do more of that. It's not the same without him on that. I still watch him, but it's just not the same. Tyler Perry's new Madea movie's gonna come out. We always watch those too, and the plays. And I'm gonna watch it for him. So, thank you, Dad. I love you. Happy birthday, and go Patriots. You all have a wonderful day. And Sheila, I love you. Talk to you soon. Well, everybody, that's the podcast right there. We did an hour and 15 minutes worth of stuff about my dad, and I hope you could all hear it okay and well. And I'm sorry if it wasn't good enough. I was trying to do this in a live stream because a friend of mine told me he wanted to go live with it, so I don't think he even got on. But man, thank you all so much for the love and the support and everything else you've done for me so far. I know we're only 4 episodes into this podcast, but man, I enjoy doing this with you guys. I enjoy you guys listening. If you guys want to hear me talk about anything else, anything at all, just message me on Facebook, DK Campbell. Hit me up on there. Look up DK's Den on Facebook as well. The Instagram is dk.campbell.9. Twitter is DK the filmmaker or something like that. Just hit me up on there, man. I would love to get your opinion on stuff. I'd love to talk to you guys about stuff. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy the time you have with everybody because, as I said before, you never know when somebody's going to go. But it's been great talking to you guys, and I look forward to the next one. Go Patriots, Super Bowl Sunday. Let's get it on.